Hello and welcome to the Nutrition Diva podcast. I'm your host, Monica Reinagel, and this week I'm sharing some highlights of a conversation I recently had with Lesya Mervena, who is the co-founder with Olga David of a program called I Cook After School. This is a hands-on extracurricular program for elementary school kids where cooking and kitchen skills are used not just as a way to talk to kids about nutrition and the importance of healthy eating, which is important enough, but also as a fun way to teach math, reading, chemistry, physics, problem solving, and more. I was so excited to learn about this program because it makes sense to me on so many levels. First, teaching kids to cook is a very effective way to get them excited about healthy foods. Secondly, knowing how to cook is a really important life skill and one that so many of today's adults never really learned, to their detriment. And finally, it is a super fun and effective way to reinforce the subjects they're learning in school. I Cook After School began in 2014 as an after-school cooking program for children at elementary schools in the Chicago area. By March of this year, the program had expanded to 6 states, but when the global pandemic closed schools, Lesya and Olga nimbly converted their program to virtual programs, which are now available to parents and school systems nationwide. The company has 2 registered dietitians on staff, and several of their culinary instructors are also dietitians. Look, kids actually love to cook. We may think of it as a chore, but they love it. This has been something that I've used to keep my nieces and nephews entertained since they were very small. It's how we spend time together. And as they got older, the recipes got more elaborate, and now a couple of them are off cooking on their own. But I've also found that kids are much more receptive and adventurous about what they're willing to eat and what kinds of foods they might be excited about if they're actually involved in the process. Now, this can be especially useful if you have picky eaters. Now, when we have picky eaters, it's not just that they're being disobedient or hard to handle. Some kids really do have a hard time with various aspects of taste and texture. New foods are very challenging for them. And when they are in the kitchen actually preparing foods and choosing foods, it gives them a little bit of control, and that can really lower their anxiety about those unfamiliar foods. Here's Lesya.
It's very hard to lecture kids why you have to eat veggies and fruits every day. But when they're cooking, when they're engaged at home, it makes it a little bit easier to tell them, to prove them that it actually works if you treat your body right. So when you have a picky eater at home, you have to work with them. You cannot just force them to eat something that you want them to eat. And based on our experience, we see that picky eaters are so much more open to trying new things when they actually make the dish themselves, because they're so proud of what they made and they're very invested. So they're curious what it tastes like. And little by little, they expand their taste palette.
I Cook After School works mostly with kids between 6 and 11 years of age, and obviously you can't just hand little kids sharp knives. So kitchen safety is also a really important part of the curriculum.
When we had in-person classes, even now with virtual classes, our first class of a session starts with kitchen safety. It doesn't matter if it's a young student in first grade or somebody who is in third grade. It always starts with kitchen safety. That's a priority for us. And another aspect that we teach is cooking techniques. And even with the little kids, they can do their chopping and the pieces of the cucumber will be too large. But then the older kids can, practice more and they will be very precise and perfect size. And so our classes, they work great for students K through 4th grade.
Basic cooking techniques are such an important life skill for kids to learn. When we cook for ourselves, we generally eat a little healthier than if we're relying on takeout or fast food or packaged and prepared foods. But we have a whole generation of adults who grew up with virtually no exposure to cooking. And as a result, they have no confidence in the kitchen. And this really impacts their ability and their willingness to create healthy meals for themselves and for their kids. Teaching kids to cook sets them up for a lifetime of better eating habits. And as Lesya points out, they're learning much more than just cooking.
Behind cooking, there are like so many different aspects. So they can practice their social emotional learning and executive function skills, because it's such as organization, planning, time management, focus, problem-solving skills, and practicing math. So it's kind of like a fun activity, and kids don't even realize how much they are learning.
Cooking also gives kids a real-world application for the things that they're learning in school, and Lesya's program is designed to support the STEAM subjects: science, technology, engineering, art, and math. You know those school administrators are all about this. As she points out, following a recipe involves a lot of fractions, ratios, and other mathematical operations. When we make a salad dressing, we combine acid and oil to make an emulsion. How does that work? When we bake, we can see chemical reactions happening right in front of us, and then we can eat them afterwards. A skilled educator can find so many ways to connect cooking with the various scientific concepts.
A good example of this would be we'll learn about gravity, but we'll learn about that through engineering a perfect egg drop. And, you learn so much just by doing. And we create gooey slime or construct an ice cream glazier.
Obviously, the transition from in-person instruction to online learning has presented some unique challenges. Parents have to make sure that the ingredients and the tools are available, and someone needs to be on hand to supervise. But the iCook After School team has added additional support to help families navigate the technical challenges, and they make sure to keep those class sizes small, even the virtual class sizes, so that no one's slipping through the cracks. At the same time, going virtual has allowed them to extend their reach to school systems nationwide. And while they can't solve the problems that all school systems are now struggling with, such as unequal access to computers or broadband internet, Lesya is able to work with school systems to customize the scheduling, even the ingredients and the recipes to accommodate what's available or accessible for different populations. To learn more about the iCook After School and the kitchen science programs, parents or school administrators can visit their website. It's iCookAfterschool.com, and we have a link to that in our show notes, of course. And on the site, you can view videos of their instructions, see some sample worksheets of their curriculum, even download and sample some of their most popular recipes, such as their rainbow pizza or their chocolate truffles. Before I wrap up, I also wanted to mention a new workshop that Brock Armstrong and I are hosting this week on strategies to fight back against the midlife spread, something that many of you have asked us for. We're going to be talking about how you need to adjust your mindset, your nutrition, and your fitness to allow you to get and stay strong and healthy during midlife and beyond. It's a free workshop, and you can sign up at wayless.life/midlife. Our show is produced by Nathan Sems, edited by Karen Hertzberg, and our team at Macmillan Audio also includes Morgan Ratner, Michelle Margulis, Emily Miller, and our director, Kathy Doyle. Thank you so much for listening this week. Remember to eat something good for me.